Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's only been like 10 years. I think the last time I filmed was literally like a week ago, because I was preparing for my big weekend off, which I am excited to tell you guys about. But there's also a lot of stuff I'm like not excited to tell you guys about. Good God. I have been so tired this last week. Like, I had 3 days off, and then I worked Monday, and then I had yesterday off as well. And yesterday, I just like couldn't even get out of bed. I was so tired. And I have ADHD, if you don't already know. So I deeply rely on my routines. Like, I deeply rely on waking up at the same time every day. I don't need an alarm. I wake up at 8 or 9 a.m. every day. And then I pretty much immediately get up and just like have a cup of coffee or three and do like my journaling, get ready to start my day. And even if I'm not going to like do anything, I always like to do something because I just don't feel good like when I lay in bed all day. If it feels good to you, like by all means get the rest that you need. But my body typically does not tell me to just lay and do nothing. That's just not me. But yesterday it was like, I'm just so comfortable and I just want to keep scrolling and watching these aviation disaster videos. And I knew that I needed to get up and film. Like, I didn't film all weekend. I didn't film on my day off. And I just could not do it. For some reason, it felt like this big task, which it's not a small task. You know, I have to sit here and it's a small task. I'm really about to describe how I have to sit here and talk for 10 minutes. Like, I'm not going to do that just to myself, whether the camera's on or off. Anyway, but it was a task, you know, because I have to film it. I don't edit it, but the uploading process takes a few minutes. And for some reason, those few minutes were just, baby, they were hitting. They were hitting. So I could not get out of bed yesterday, and I felt really bad about it because I was really excited to tell you guys about this weekend. So I went to the David Lachapelle exhibit on Friday. I got dinner at PM Steakhouse before, and then I went to David Lachapelle, and I got there a little bit late because the drive to Miami Beach was dumb long. It was like an hour because my reservation was at 5:45 on a Friday. If you know, you know. So yes, it took an hour to get from where I live to Miami Beach, and dinner was phenomenal. Oh my God, I cannot recommend PM Steakhouse in Miami Beach enough. It's not in Miami Beach. PM is in Brickell. So it is a phenomenal place to eat. It was the first time I'd ever been there, and it was so good. I got the skirt steak. And the person I was having dinner with got the ribeye, and the ribeye was so tender. Like, I know they say melt in your mouth, and I always think that's bullshit because it's like, I still have to chew the steak. Like, just say it's a good steak. But this whole, like, I don't even have to chew it. Like, I hate that because you still have to chew it. But when I tell you it, like, this steak, it just melted in your mouth. Like, you didn't have to chew it. It was, I don't want to say like a gross word, but it was chewed. You put it in your mouth, it's chewed. You could swallow. It's good. So they served it on this like super, super hot plate. And I'm a culinary nerd, y'all. I can fucking cook. I can cook. So I recognize great culinary talent when I taste it. And the fact that they served it on such a hot plate to keep that fat rendered and melted throughout the beef was so good. And you know I'm rich because I bought a $14 side that I didn't end up eating. And I couldn't take it into the gallery. Or maybe I could, but I didn't want to be tacky. So I'm not rich. I'm still thinking about the fact that I couldn't take the vegetables home for leftovers. And it gets me. It gets me. But anyway, dinner was phenomenal. So we show up with like our big giant paper bag because you know at fancy restaurants they wrap everything up for you and put it in a bag so you don't have to do the scraping into the container yourself. So we show up with this big bag and we're just like, should we just throw this away? Like, because nobody else, everybody had their tiny little like Balenciaga bags, like their teeny tiny little like Valentino bags, and here we are with dinner leftovers. And if you've ever been to like the what is it, the Art Deco district in Miami Beach, nobody's bringing their dinner leftovers into an art gallery. So we ditched the leftovers and we went inside, and I think we were between like 30 minutes to an hour late for the event at this point, showing up fashionably late to the Art Deco district. Oh, anyway, posh. So I walk in and everybody is crowded around the corner, and I see David Lachapelle. And so I figure like, oh, he's about to leave, like, because artists, from my experience, when I go somewhere where the artist is present, in any industry, typically it's like a quick da-da-da-da-da, they're doing what they need to do, and then they have somewhere else to be. Whether it's like an after party, they're just tired, they have like a club appearance, like it's very, very common for artists to do their like, hey, thank you for coming, gotta go. So he's in the corner, everybody is like crowded around him, and there's a bit of a line. So I'm thinking like, I'll look at the pictures as I move up through the line, but if I have to stand here in line the entire time in order to meet him, I'm gonna do that, because this man has worked with everybody from Paris Hilton. I think he's photographed Kim Kardashian for Getty Images. I know he's done a lot of red carpet work. I think he's done a lot of red carpet work. I say I know, I don't, but I think. But what I do know is that his work is phenomenal. If you ever saw that picture of Tupac in the shower with all the bubbles on him, called Becoming Clean, or the slavery shoot that Tupac did, David Lachapelle was behind that. And I had questions about this because it's just like two different forms of art coming together so like harmoniously, but also strange at the same time, because I mean, Tupac just seems so like comfortable in these pictures, and I just wanted to know what that experience was like. So I was prepared to wait in line, but no sooner than we had absorbed this information, we see David and his like entourage, like his assistant, his camera people. There was like people that were taking pictures, and then there were also people that was holding up this light when they took pictures, which, that light, baby, you should have thrown it in a fucking bush. I thought it was so ironic and hilarious that they had somebody that was just there being paid to hold this light up when David took pictures of people, because that light was so, it was like this color, like gold yellow. It was the most unflattering lighting. I ended up having to go re-edit all of the pictures that I took, spoiler alert, that I took with David, and I had to like cool them down because the light was so like, it was just bad. It was just bad. But anyway, so he moves outside, and so I'm like, oh, we missed him. Like, we just missed him. And the person that I went to the gallery with is like, no, go see if you can see him outside. And so I run out there, and I'm just pulling my phone out, like he's taking pictures of people, and I just want a picture of him just to say like, yeah, look, I saw him. And he's standing outside. There's significantly less people around. There's probably like 10, 15 people outside this gallery in Miami Beach, and I'm one of them. And people are just very casually, it's not like you would just think that, I don't know what you would think, but anyway, it was just weird because he's so famous, like within his industry, he's so famous, but it was just so intimate. It was honestly such an intimate gathering, and the person that I was with, I realized we didn't get a program, and everybody else was like handing him their programs to sign. And one guy was like, I just bought this Prada gift for my friend. It's his birthday. Do you think you could sign the bag? And so he's got this big Prada bag. David signs it. I'm like, what? Like, if anybody said, babe, I got you a new Prada bag, and the bag that the bag is in is signed by David Lachapelle, kisses. Babe, you're the maid of honor at my wedding. Hello. So anyway, the person that I was with had gone to get a program. And so when it was my turn, well, they didn't really do turns. It was just like, you got to get up there and go, okay, I'm going now. And so I kind of did that after like 10 minutes, y'all. I was so shy. I was shaking. I was like, and so I go up to him, and even now I'm like, But I told him, I was like, sorry, I'm kind of nervous. I'm a huge fan of your work, and I just get really starstruck. And he's just like, oh, okay, why? And so we get like our pictures together. Like my outfit is so good, so good. You can see my, let me not go there. But anyway, David Lachapelle has no issues with nudity. So I was looking good. And so I get my picture and everything, but I just regret the way that I came across. I came across very fangirly. So when the person that I was with came back, they walked right up to him and they started just, you know, shooting the shit. They were talking about how they're both wearing Lakers gear, how they're both from LA. And then that was my opportunity. That was my opportunity. I was like, oh, ooh, speaking of LA. And I asked him, I said, did it take any convincing when you hit up Tupac for the Bubbles shoot, the Becoming Clean shoot? Did that take any convincing, or was he like kind of on board with it? And David said that it didn't take any convincing because the slavery themed shoot that they had done a couple months prior, he was totally down for. And so the Bubbles were nothing because he had already convinced him to do like a slavery themed photo shoot. But he said the way that it went about is that he said that Tupac was the only rapper that ever showed up on time. And not only that, he showed up 4 hours early. And so David is in bed, he's asleep, and he gets a call from his assistant talking about like, Pac's here for you. Sent him upstairs to David's room. And he said Tupac was just sitting at the edge of his bed going like, hey, how are we gonna do this? Like, what's this gonna look like? And David was like, well, I have an idea, but bear with me. Slavery. And he said that he wanted to do a shoot representing the origins of hip hop, where during like the times of slavery, hip hop was used as like a form of communication between the slaves. And I thought that was brilliant. And I'm just listening to him tell me this very intimate story about his experience with Tupac Shakur. And he was like, you know, it wasn't a problem convincing him because Pac was a visionary. He was such an artist. And I felt like in that moment, we really shared a vision. And I was like, you and Tupac Shakur shared and executed a vision. What a legend. Like, what a legend. And I'm talking to this man. It was incredible, you guys. It was like, honestly, like life-changing. And then on my way out, so slick. Oh my God, on my way out, he's just with a few people, like maybe 3 people, and we left early, fashionably early, and I said, bye, David, have a good night, it was great to meet you, and he turns around, looks for who said it, and goes, thank you so much for coming, have a wonderful night, it was so good to meet you. Sorry, I get emotional. Oh my God, that was, yeah, it was an amazing experience. It was an amazing night, and his work was just beautiful. Like, we did go through the gallery and look at all the pictures and everything, and his work is gorgeous. We have, I have the program here that maybe I'll pop out and show you guys next video because I don't want to get up and go get it. But that's not the only thing. So that was on Friday. On Saturday, it was like my beautiful weekend came like crashing down. Not really, but sort of. So I open my email and I see a notice of deposition. Great. I know what it means to be deposed, but I don't really know what it means. So I click on the email and it says that I have a notice to appear, be sworn in under oath, and be interrogated by my company's attorneys. It's about my workers' comp claim. And you guys, this was so confusing, right? Because the ceiling collapsed due to shoddy maintenance in the building of my company. Not like when they were building it, but like in the building that my company is in. Like the ceiling collapsed under the weight of water that had been collecting in the ceiling. It ripped open and all the water poured down. And I slipped in the water and compounded an injury in my back. And my back was really messed up for a little while. And so I retained legal counsel because it was the building's job, not my company's. My company leases the space. It was the building's job to provide the maintenance. And this had happened before. So I was really irritated because it's like, you need to do the work that you need to do and spend the money that you need to spend to make sure that this building is up to code. Because if y'all know anything about buildings in Florida and water, there is no convincing these buildings that they should just shell out the money that they're supposed to and waterproof these buildings. We were not meant to live this close to the ocean at sea level with this level of development that they have in Florida, especially southeast Florida. You know, if you guys ever heard of Champlain Towers a couple years ago, under the weight of water, corrosion from salt water, the building not being up to code, maintenance not being upkept, the entire South Tower collapsed. A lot of people died. It was really sad. There were people that possibly were still alive at the bottom of the building, and because they couldn't hold up Collins Avenue any longer, and because the search and rescue was starting to become perilous, they had to just collapse the rest of the building on top of the people that had not been recovered. It was really, really sad. A fireman found his daughter in the rubble, like, not a joke at all. So I take building maintenance in South Florida very seriously. I'm not fucking around with companies that don't want to pay, and billion-dollar companies. I'm talking Fortune 500 companies that don't want to pay the tiny little amount of money that it is to them to make sure that we, making $17 an hour or less, don't fucking die. I'm not having it at all. I'm not having it. So I retained legal counsel because I wanted to know, do buildings have a requirement to keep occupants physically safe? Because if they do, in the elevator, the safety elevator that we like bring our stuff from offsite up and down on, the safety certificate is 3 years expired, excuse me. It expired in 2021, and the safety certificate is for a pottery barn at a different address. So I'm not fucking around anymore. That's why I retained an attorney to begin with. Somehow, and I genuinely am learning a lesson about like, make sure when you are getting yourself involved in legal business that you're paying attention, because once you retain an attorney, still filming. Okay, once you retain an attorney, you may not know everything that's going to be going on behind the scenes, because I guess they heard that I got injured while clocked in for a company, and I don't know if workers' comp, you have to file a lawsuit against the insurance company, or if they filed for workers' comp and additionally filed a lawsuit. I'm not sure, but what they said was that we're going to be with you every step of the way of workers' comp. Like, we'll take a look at them all, but let's go ahead and get you started on this workers' comp process so that no matter what, you're at least taken care of by somebody. You know, like if I need to get my back fixed, either the mall or the company's going to pay for it, but they're going to make sure somebody pays for it. And so they contacted my employer, let them know that I was filing for workers' comp. Everybody was like, why didn't you say anything? And I was like, y'all, I smoke weed. I was under the impression that if you smoke or use any type of drugs or anything, that you can't file for workers' comp, because I thought that they were going to drug test you for workers' comp. That's what I've always thought. A lot of people think that if you smoke, don't file for workers' comp because they'll drug test you. And if you test positive, they're going to deny your claim and then you'll be in trouble. So that's why I didn't. But so I go through with the workers' comp filing, and they start sending me to physical therapy. My company does. And so I got my back fixed up. And so my employer had told me, like, don't worry about the lawyers. We're going to get you taken care of. Like, don't worry about the lawyers, basically. So I didn't respond to my attorney one time. Never met my attorney, never spoke to my attorney, have had no communication with my attorney until I get this notice of deposition. And in the notice, it's talking about settlement agreements, that we will be discussing settlements, which is really confusing considering I don't know what's going on. But it did say that, and my hearing is at the end of February, by the way. It did say that should I accept a settlement agreement, the attorneys will require my permanent resignation from my position. So yeah, that's really stressful. I might be having to resign from my job in less than a month, like a few weeks at this point. And that's just not something that I expected to have to do at all. I'm trying to see it as like an opportunity, you know? Maybe if I reached a settlement about workers' comp, it would free up some time for me to really start working on my YouTube career in a way that is meaningful, you know? So I'm trying to look at everything as an opportunity, but I can't say that I'm not like dumb stressed. It's hard to care about going to work when it's like, I might just be forced to quit, you know, what I've spent the last couple years building. And a lot of people have told me like, well, the steady paycheck is worth more than a lump sum. No, it's not. No, it's not. The truth is, the company that I work for, I love, but I could be making more money working less hours somewhere else. Anywhere else, I could probably be making a little bit more money. Not anywhere, but you know what I'm saying? Like downstairs from where I work, there's a coffee shop that's hiring for supervisors, and they asked me to interview, starting $17 to $20 an hour, which is already more than I make, and no overtime, so 30 hours a week, which is what I'm looking for. Like, that's what I'm looking for. And so I'm trying to see it as an opportunity, but I also just like didn't expect any of this at all. I don't like the idea of being deposed. I'm a very like anxious person, and I don't like to get in trouble, you know? So I'm telling the truth, of course. You know, I didn't ask for anything. All I wanted was to go to physical therapy, do some exercises to get my back in shape, and then get back to work, like get back to the job. And that's exactly what I did, you know? So I don't like the idea of having done everything the right way and having to like be one step ahead, you know? Like when they ask this question, should I not give this answer? Should I withhold this information so that they don't try to spin it on me? You know, I don't like that. And there was a whole page in the packet that I received from my attorneys about the deposition, talking about surveillance, about how my company may be surveilling me on or off the job, trying to catch me in a lie. I don't like that. You know, I don't like I'm imagining like, because it wasn't an injury where I had to be in a wheelchair, you know, so I don't want them being like, but you could walk across the block to Starbucks. You needed physical therapy, but like you could walk to Starbucks. You could carry these grocery bags home. You know, so I don't like being caught up basically. And then because that feels like, it feels like I'm not just allowed to tell the truth, or if I do tell the truth, maybe I'll get in trouble. Maybe they'll spin something a certain way. You know, lawyers are going to lawyer. And I don't know my lawyers. So I can't trust that like, no, these are competent people that know me and my story really well. They have all my medical records. I was kind of told not to send them the information that they were asking for because what my attorneys were asking for was very invasive, but I didn't know either that any of this was going to happen. I just didn't know how workers' comp filings worked, you know? So that's been really stressful, and I'll definitely have to give you guys an update, but this is the longest video I've posted yet, so I want to go ahead and kind of wrap it up here so that I can continue getting ready for work. But February is going to be a big month, you guys. I see some changes happening in February. If they like don't offer me a settlement at the deposition, I don't know what happens. If there's any lawyers in the comments that can kind of like ease my mind as to what happens during a deposition for workers' comp filings or any sort of like insurance lawsuits, let me know, because it's all sounding very big and scary right now. But thank you guys so much for tuning into my update. And I always like filming after I'm done filming way more than I do before I'm filming. So I'm going to try to remember how good it feels to finish a video this week and get another one out to you guys if I have any updates. So thank you for watching. Have a good day. See you next time.